My name is Ali Dawood with Majority Caucus. For tonight, we'll dedicate our attention to looking at some pressing national issues, such as the utility tariff that the president has advocated that it's about time we start paying realistic prices because of obvious changes in terms of what we use in producing the energy. And he thinks that the energy production is at a higher cost. Meanwhile, consumers are paying very low for it, and that it really doesn't make any business sense. And therefore, there's the need for us to start preparing our minds to make appropriate payment thereof. Also, on tonight's agenda is the ban on demonstration or any public gathering as issued by the police earlier, preventing other civil society groups from going on demonstration. And so these are the issues that we'll be discussing. But do stay with me. When I come back, I will introduce the guests in the studio. Don't go away. I'll be right back. Hello and welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. This is Majority Caucus live on your multi-TV. Also live in Syria on www.multitvworld.com. And tonight in the studio, I have Comrade Kosedu, who is the convener of the CJA, and also Fred Agbanyo, member of the government communication team. Thank you both gentlemen for your time here.
Thank you very much.
Let me start with you, Comrade. You spoke forcefully against the ban. I don't really know if it is a ban, but the police have described it as a postponement of any public demonstrations. But you spoke vehemently against whatever it is, whether it is banned or it is postponement, simply that they do not have the power to do that. Do you still stand by this position?
We stand by it, and we will take measures to ensure that right that the citizens of this country are supposed to enjoy under the Constitution is respected and retained. This is because we live in a country, and in order that there will be proper rule, we have made laws for ourselves. Now, it is only in an authoritarian system or under some dictatorship that people get up and make their own laws. We have a constitution which says that people have the right to hold a demonstration. And as an adjunct to the constitutional provision, there's a Public Order Act which also says that before you go on demonstration, you have to inform the police 5 days in advance. Now, if there are any discussions to have with the police, they will have it with you. If they think that it is not advisable for whatever reason to have the demonstration, they will let you know what their point of view is. If you persist on having the demonstration and the police insist that you should not have it, the place to go is the court. It is not up to the police to make a new rule.
But comrades, I mean, really looking at the provisions of this Public Order Act, it gives some conditions that perhaps the organizers of the demonstrations should meet or satisfied, in the absence of which it may be deemed as a threat to internal security for them to embark on such an act.
The police are not talking about what the demonstrators may be up to or anything. They say it's banned. So even before the issue about whether your activities could threaten national security or not are brought to the fore, they've banned you. You can't. You just have to keep quiet.
But that may be unfair to the police because you have prior discussion and they are vested with the competence to make that determination in terms of what constitutes
the police are saying
a security risk.
Don't even come to them. They've banned it. Banning means that
don't even come and have a discussion.
Don't come. We have banned you.
But isn't that because there's an earlier discussion and which they have made their determination?
No.
So further demonstrations should follow suit.
What is the earlier discussion? The police have had no discussion
AFAG had 4 demonstrations postponed.
Are we saying that this police order is against AFAG?
No, I'm just citing a case in point.
Yeah.
That
so you deal with it on a case-by-case basis. I'll be very surprised indeed if the police can make an order because of a particular targeted group.
That is not what I'm saying.
Thank you very much.
I'm just citing some examples.
If that is not the case, then you see, what they have sought to do is to restrict the right of every citizen in this country from embarking on a demonstration.
But
whatever the reason.
You do not think that there should be any reason that should supersede the curtailment of this freedom to express yourself through demonstration?
But how will the police or anybody know the reason when they say don't come to us?
I do not think that we are being fair to the police when we say they ultimately or they utterly said don't come to us.
It is a ban. It was in the newspapers, it was from the police administration, and it is a ban.
I mean, I will come to Fred, but comrade, I just need to put this thing to you. I do not want to say I'm just suggesting to you, but I need to make this point that they have had occasions where, for instance, people have advocated for bomb throwing on a supposed demonstration platform. After they've gone around demonstrating on the street, they gathered at a particular place, started making very reckless pronouncements. So they have the history from hindsight to guide them.
History?
I'm talking about the police.
You are the interviewer. Don't let me interview you.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, the police. The impression I'm getting from the submission is that perhaps the police is being too authoritarian. They are not giving.
Excuse me. You see, if I sit in the comfort of my street corner and advocate for bomb throwing, it is against the law. And I should be dealt with according to the law. So it doesn't need a demonstration to do that. Okay. They're saying they've banned demonstrations. Whether it is in celebration of something or not, no. They've banned it. But you see, you are going along the line of something that is against something. Okay. What they have done is to ban any demonstration, whatever it is.
Is it because all subsequent demonstrations or intended demonstrations have given indication that they will go along similar pattern?
That is why I was posing the question earlier on whether it is against a particular group. Even if they intended it for a particular group, which would be very, very, very unfair, they have now included everybody in the country. And every activity, even if it's a celebratory demonstration. They've banned it.
I'll come back to you, so you tell me, because the police, the information I have is that they are giving this ban because there's an ongoing Supreme Court case that they think that people should just exercise patience. When that ruling has been given finally, then we could do whatever we do, because I'm talking about their manpower, resources. You just have just enough to man the activities in Ghana. So I want you to ponder over this question. I'll come back to you so you tell me whether the police has been indeed overstretched. Do you think it's out of order for the police to engage in this kind of, I don't know what to call it, if it's a police fiat, no more demonstration?
Well, Ali, let me say good evening to our viewers and good evening to senior comrade. I really admire the objectivity of CJE. When it comes to the issue of demonstration, what have you, I think that they stand tall among various groupings in this country. They believe in that, that's why they are defending the cause. But Ali, coming back to the very substantive issue we are discussing, I'm not too sure if the directive from the police is a ban on demonstration. Because like Senior Committee rightly said, per the law, the police does not have any locals to say that we are banning demonstration in this country. They don't have the local, they can't do it.
Before you proceed any further, I think that they have progressed from that point. It's no longer about the use of terminologies. It is about the ultimate effect. If you say postpone or ban, the end result is that people cannot go.
That is the exact point I want to build. That I think I don't want to say we are not being fair to them, but we are prejudging what they are saying. All the police saying is that we have some difficulty. All those who want to embark on demonstrations should hold on. Following from a ruling from the I think the Supreme Court that or the Supreme Court or the High Court that came out with Dr. Jazapalu with the case that every demonstration is a potential violence, whatever it is. So they are saying that we are in court. Every blessed day our policemen must go there. We have some difficulties. Based on the information they have, they think that organized demonstration around a particular time will not be too suitable. The difficulty I have with that communique, maybe the way it was put, the way they went about it, it came across as though it was a directive they were giving, it was a fiat, it was something. My kind of opinion is that they should have appealed to all organized
what do you
groups.
think it is?
Yeah, like I said, because they don't have the locals, they cannot give any such fiat, they cannot give any such commands, and they know too well that per our laws, the Public Order Act, the police cannot say don't. Because any organized group that wants to embark on a demonstration, you don't go to obtain permission from the police, but you go to inform them.
And notify them.
Notify them. So they come and protect you, those of you who are embarking on the demonstration, and other people, lives and property.
Is the presence of police at demonstrations necessary?
Not compulsory. If you go and they say that, well, we have some limitations, we have some difficulties, we cannot go with you. And the leaders of the organization think that we can do it without your protection. We can protect ourselves, protect other people. Go ahead and do it. The consequences is that if you go and do it and there are any shortfall, there are any difficulties, that is when you are held accountable. You are held responsible. You are made to pay for your actions and inactions. So I am not too sure at this point, to the extent I can go to the police
let me just cite an example. So you think in your view that it is fair, for instance, for the student of Commonwealth Hall, upon embarking on their usual float, which I'm sure yourself have enjoyed it before during your days there, it is fair for them to be brutalized, humiliated, embarrassed publicly?
I think that it was most unfortunate.
It's under the same fiat. Yeah.
It was most unfortunate that when the police went about that particular issue, these are students every year, long before some of us had opportunity of being in that hall, and all other people who have come before us and those who are still there. Every year before our hall weekend, what have you, we go on a float. A float really is not a demonstration. It's just to announce to communities around us that Commonwealth Hall, the only hall in Ghana, is doing something. Know and bear with us and maybe come and join us to do it. So I thought the police could have provided some men to just go and guide them through the particular exercise. But for whatever reason, the understanding I got really is that there was some communication between the two parties. And the police said, we have given a directive. Which again, I agree with comment that they don't even have the locals to give that straight directive. They don't have the local because
it is there.
Per the Public Order Act, you are not asking permission. You are not forcing the police to come and guide and protect you. You are only informing them that we are going to do this. Can you please give us men to come and usher out to whatever we are going to do? If they said no, they don't have the men, and you are convinced, the leadership, I mean in this case, are convinced that they can do it without any problem, give them the lead, we'll let them do it. But to be able to marshal several men in uniform to go and meet them midway, and the things we heard thereafter, I thought was not too good. Was not too good. I am somebody who really don't want to criticize the police too much. Looking at the conditions and who the police work in this country, I think that's one institution we need to always applaud. We need to manage them. We need to assist them to do their work effectively because they are doing great job for Mother Ghana. But when they come out the way they did, giving room for people to sort of want to criticize them on very, very reluctantly, I think it's not too good. Are you
being diplomatic with the actions of the police?
It's not about being...
Because somebody would argue that your language perhaps has changed. When you were in opposition, you would not stand any directives coming from the police purporting to deny you the freedom to express yourself by demonstrating.
You see, when you put it that way, it's as though, like Comrade rightly said, as though the directive from the police was targeted at a particular group of people. No, for all of us. Some of us who wanted to organize other things, let my vote count and what have you, all those have been curtailed. So it's not as if we are not directly affected by the directive. We are also affected. By now, we should be somewhere telling the people of this country how some people have lied, the reason why they went to court, when they be put on street proof, now give evidence, now they can't.
They get angry.
Some of us really bad. Now should be going around bringing people on board what is actually happening in court. But the police said we shouldn't do it. And like I said, I sincerely think it was a communication. The idea was not to veto, to suggest. They don't have such powers to do those. So let us bash them, in a very nice manner, because we need them. We can't do without them.
That indeed is not in this way. Comrade, the argument that, hey, see, I mean, we're overstretched. Armed robbery, killings, public display of impunity in Kumasi, we're just overburdened. We can't support another group of people who want to go on demonstration. We think that their situation is not that critical. Sympathize with that. That's the police.
They did not ask anybody to sympathize with them.
As part of...
Excuse me.
Okay.
They have banned us, everybody. Now, if you are going to give those leeways, any authoritarian body will find an excuse, any excuse. Armed robbery? How many armed robberies have taken place or were taking place before the ban? And look at the statistics over the years of cases of armed robbery. Were demonstrations banned? No, the police are looking for an excuse. And the laughable thing about using the Supreme Court case is that when Commonwealth Hall happened, they got policemen to go and beat them up. As for that one, they got policemen to go and beat them up, isn't it? And then, so the policemen left the Supreme Court. Secondly, are all the policemen or the necessary available police officers throughout the country have massed up at the Supreme Court? Is that the case? No, it is not. So, because of something that is happening in Accra, you say you ban demonstrations throughout the country. So if the people in Sehuoso or Wale Wale want to go on demonstration for whatever reason, they can't, because of a Supreme Court case taking place in Accra. Now, that is an excuse. And if we acquiesce to that, we are inviting dictatorship, and one day the police will come up and say, and for another reason, we have banned even the formation of associations. And then we will sit down and listen. Because national security.
Someone may contend that is far too an extreme interpretation of their actions.
I think that about 2 years ago, I would have thought that the thought of the police declaring a ban on demonstration would be far-fetched. And now it's with us. And we are living with it.
You don't think the Supreme Court case is important?
It is not the Supreme Court case.
No, I'm not talking about the case he cited.
If they are
I'm talking about the petition.
They should talk to their employers about being overstretched and not to use that as an excuse to restrict our freedom.
But it's a matter of priorities, comrade.
What priority?
The petition is important.
It's
not the case that they have massed up all police forces on the premises or at the premises of Supreme Court. They are saying that the situation surrounding this petition is delicate.
Yes.
So we wouldn't entertain any political...
If I want to go on demonstration to celebrate the 50th anniversary of OAU, I can't. Because of a Supreme Court case, which is very delicate.
I'm sure the police will have a different...
A very quick interjection. You see, like I said, I came across it as though I was being diplomatic. The fact of the issue is that the police are part of the national security. The briefing they receive, the intelligence they pick on the ground. Maybe you and I may not be privy to most of the things.
That's a possibility.
You understand? Yes, you and I could very well mean we want to back on a demonstration without any ill motives. The police might have picked some information about some other people who may even want to come and infiltrate our camps, to come and do other things that may not be our original objective. But like I said, it's a communique I have a problem with.
Okay, you think the language is too
the language, the way they went about it. But otherwise,
let me put that to.
Let me put that to give them the benefit of the doubt.
You think that because other people may take undue advantage, for instance, the example you cited, 50th anniversary of AU, and some people may just come in and someone scrupulous.
Why do you have to prejudge? Why do you have to presume? that some people may have some objective. What are we afraid of?
You say we are not living
It is
in
a
normal
failure.
times.
It is actually a failure on the part of the police. That if they have the intelligence, that they are not able to target those subjects, but have to ban everybody in the country. It's a failure. It's actual laziness.
You don't
They
think
should deal with the intelligence that they have. They should deal with that. And so if you think that a particular group is likely to be violent or whatever, you can discuss with them. And you can then go, that's why there's the law. Why don't we want to make our laws work? So you go to the court and say, look, I have intelligence, this, that. And as a result of this, this will not be a good idea. And therefore, this should be banned.
But the strategy is that of preemptive in character, and that we really don't need to.
So they are going to preempt all our freedoms, or they are going to preempt everything
with regards to this one, they said, well, it's in the interest of everybody.
At the end of the day, we are going to tread a very dangerous path if we are going to give excuses to people to do the wrong things. The wrong thing should not be done. Those who framed the Constitution knew what they were doing. Those who framed the Public Order Act knew what they were doing. Don't let us let our guard down and go back to the culture of silence.
I have a final question before we switch to our next topic. Do you think that where this directive emanated from the background, i.e., AFAG wants to go on demonstration, and we know, I'm not saying they are targeting particular group. We have Transparency and Accountability Forum, TAF. They were the last straw that broke the camel's back. And then obviously CJA might want to go on strike. We have no information to that effect. Do you think that the background of these groups and perhaps the targeted intention of that demonstration could be what informed this,
It can be.
It can be.
It can be. In any case. Why is it that if AFAG, CJ, whatever group wants to do it, why don't you deal with them as they arise? How many policemen does it take to go to a high court? One or two?
Yeah.
One or two. That one too, they've gone to Supreme Court? No, because of that, you've banned demonstration for all the 20-odd million people in this country. If we agree to that, we are agreeing to the erosion of our fundamental freedoms. And we should not complain. If another government comes tomorrow and they also ban you, accept it.
But let me put these two examples to you. In Kenya, whilst the Supreme Court case was ongoing, there was a similar ban.
Kenya is not run. Kenya is not run by the 1992 Constitution.
In Pakistan, it's also happening. The same situation.
Excuse me. Pakistan. I don't know the case of Pakistan. I know about Ghana. Kenya is not ruled by the 1992 Constitution.
Okay.
Pakistan is not ruled under the 1992
They have
Constitution.
similar freedom.
Excuse me. We're talking about us.
Of course.
Okay? Pakistanis allow American drones to go and bomb their villages and kill hundreds of people. Are you saying it's acceptable? So if it's happening in Pakistan, it's all right that it happens here.
We can copy good practices.
We don't have,
good practices.
Banning of demonstrations is a good practice now that we have to learn from Pakistan and Kenya.
I'm averting your minds to other jurisdictions and what is happening there.
We have our law. Let us make our laws work. And we have stated in our statement.
Are you really going on with the court case?
We will go.
You will go to court.
If the police do not withdraw it, we will go.
What was the ultimatum?
No, we have not given a date, but we will go. We are preparing.
Okay. Final word on this, then we'll go to.
I think we need to cross-check. I don't know what senior comrades have done about it. Like I said, I saw the statement that was issued by the police leadership. And again, I am not too sure it was a categorical directive that they gave. When I read the statement, I didn't see it that way. I am not too sure, because like all of us are saying, they don't have that mandate. They don't have that locus. They can't do that. And they are very much aware. So I don't know the premise on which we may want to go to court on a subject like this. I agree with the fear Senior Comrade and his colleagues are entertaining. All of us, people fought very hard for us to have the freedom that we have, that we are living with today. So under no circumstances will such people will sit back, fold their arms, and see actions that have the potential of curtailing our freedom without commenting on it. That is what I see. Okay. Nevertheless, we should, I think we are trying to overblow the whole issue. Let us get close to maybe the police leadership. Or maybe let us use this opportunity to call on the police leadership to come clean. They should communicate effectively. What is their directive? What are they telling about this country? Okay. Because it is too ambiguous. We are not too sure exactly what the directive is as of now.
Okay, you wanted to add something?
As far as I'm concerned, I read the reports, or we have read the reports that came from the police administration. In fact, subsequently, they had other press conferences in which they stated the same thing. In fact, one of the latter ones, it was even worse. Now, you see, yesterday was May 13th. A lot of people in this country either have forgotten or don't know. May 13th is the 36th anniversary of the nationwide university students' demonstration in 1977 against the Champagne regime. It is a landmark event that culminated eventually into changes in structures in this country. Now, it was a military regime, and the students went on demonstration. You have a civilian regime, and the police want to ban demonstrations? My God.
Okay. Let's with this further word, let's quickly come to the president's call on Ghanaians to be realistic in paying for utility that is being provided to them by the state. Fred, it looks to me like this may be quite a slippery slope the president is traveling on, and in opposition, it looks like, we are producing our own energy. Why should we? And we don't even see the so-called, we need to improve on the quality. That has been the excuse all the time. We need to improve. If you don't pay more, we can't improve. And that VRA is indebted to the tunes unimaginable, and you have to pay. We are being given the same excuses. Are they justifiable?
Ali, first of all, let me state that President Mahama is not the first person to make that particular call. Several individual-minded people who are not necessarily partisan have had a cause to analyze our energy situations, and have come out with the view that looking at the cost of supply vis-a-vis what we paid for, supply and generation of electricity, vis-a-vis what we pay for consumption, if indeed we want to attract private investors, private persons to move into that sector of generation, then we need to up the tariffs that we take. Now, we need to analyze the statement or the call that was made by the president in that context. This, what has been christened today as Dumso, didn't start today. It has lived with us for all these years. We can adduce all the reasons why we are where we are. What we were told when the recent one happened was that the Western corridor, the pipeline, the West Africa pipeline, had a problem, so as we couldn't get gas to be able to supply this thing. We are told we need about 200 megawatts of electricity, then we can curtail the Dumso. Now, if you see the energy we are getting from the T3 from Takoradi, that alone is about 133 megawatts. If you see the Bui Dam is giving about 132 megawatts. That is about 265 already. So if we need 200 megawatts to solve our problem, then with the 265, one should be even be saying that now we even have surplus about 65. But it is still not the case. It tells me clear that fundamentally something is wrong. My candid opinion on this particular subject is that we need to open it more up for more deliberation and discussion. I am against a situation where, to date, apart from the dam that Nkrumah built far back several years, we've not been able to really researched and tapped into other sources of energy generation until recently that the Bui is coming on board and this Sobel dams and the T3 and blah, blah, blah. I think that there are too many other sources of energy that we have not utilized. Okay. I am against a situation where everything is centralized, where every energy generated must be given to VRA, everybody else must be hooked onto that national grid for energy. You see, where you allowed competition, one, you will get efficiency, and then two, it compels prices to come down. If you go to other jurisdictions, even in Japan, we have come really of age where northern region can have their set of energy supply regulated within that enclave, where you have other competitors coming on board and say that, listen, the service we are offering the people of the northern region is not too good. We want to come in, we can do better. We can even beat the price down. You go to the Volta region, 2-3 other competitors go in there. Do a survey, do a research. Maybe the entire Volta region in industry and domestic consumption of electricity, maybe we are talking about only about 20 or 35 megawatts of electricity. So you have a company who can come to Volta and say that we can produce 35. Another one says we can produce 40. Another one says we can produce 25. All of them are operating independently. Just like we have this telecos and the rest. So even the consumer have a choice. Where do I move to? In that way, we can be talking about efficiency. We can be talking about prices coming down as a result of that competition. But the only reason why today, and talk to several investors, you meet them, you invite them, they want to come on board. They come and do their survey and they tell you, if you look at the cost of generation, the cost of production, vis-a-vis what we pay for the consumption, it doesn't make any business sense for anybody to want to come in. So it is a subject, in my very kind opinion, we have to be very sober about, dispassionate about. Let us discuss it. Is it possible? Have we not come of age where we decentralize these things completely?
So you don't think that whatever the amount of additional energy that is produced because of the centralized system of distribution,
we can have a problem. Because today, as we speak, Ali, in this country, there's problem with light. You call VRA, they give you all their reasons. They tell you, well, we are in charge of generation. Then there's another appendage group they have formed today we call Gridco. You talk to Gridco, they too tell you, well, the problem really is not ours. VRA had not supplied for us to be able to distribute whatever that it is. Then there is another Oluman body over there we call ECG. They will also give you all their excuses. So you don't even know who to hold responsible for the difficulties.
I see.
Everybody is passing the blame. It's not me. It's not if this person. And
the solution is decentralization.
Decentralization. If we say we are decentralizing in this country, let us give meaning to that concept. Okay. In totality, in everything we do. So that people, maybe you go to a particular district. Let me take my district in Volta region, Ohwe district. This is a company, or these are the companies that are supplying electricity for us. 2-3 companies. You move to Kwando district, those in Kwando district are doing better than those in Ohwe district. So maybe they even want to come in. They want to push you out of the market. Consumers have a choice. We come out for a regulation. As for the lines, the wires, once they are there, they are fixed. Anybody who wants to go about it, some agreement, you move on to, and quickly you see that people will sit up. A lot of these service providers, for Christ's sake, are just taking us for granted.
They're enjoying monopoly. Eh?
Somebody comes to you and says, I'm giving you prepaid meter. Prepaid means that you have paid for the services that has not been rendered to you. Now, when the fellow is supposed to deliver his part of the agreement you have entered with him, you sleep in your house, your lights go off.
Indeed.
It doesn't give you an explanation. It doesn't give you any excuse. You don't even have any avenue of seeking redress.
On that topic regarding the meters, the Deputy Minister for Energy has promised to be here, except that he hasn't given a specific date. He would want to come and explain further regarding meters and the new regulation and the strategies to curtail, for instance, a legal connection.
So, Ali, just before senior comrade come in, we need to really bring this subject back on the table. Several stakeholders, I'm sure people have several ideas they can bring on board. This country will say, oh, solar, what have we done with it? I remember the Jimpa New Road that was constructed, some solar lights were fixed over there. The following month, that day I remember I drove on that road, I was coming to work. I saw people over there removing and refixing. I thought they were repairing it. Apparently, they were thieves who had come to remove all the batteries. Today, as we speak, that entire road is in darkness. We have a country where we have so much sun, and our street lights have become like some white elephants. Daytime lights are on. In the evening that you need the lights are off. N1. This distance, we can't even maintain street lights on it. For me, it gets me crazy sometimes, really, because these are things that when you go to other jurisdictions, they have done and perfected the art. Can't we adopt?
Let me go to Comrade. Maybe if there's time, I will come to you to talk about the innovation and the new solar panel in Ghana, let's say West Africa, Sub-Sahara. Comrade, you think the reason given by Agbenyo is justified for perhaps an upward adjustment in the prices that we'll pay for? I mean,
he didn't give the reason.
I mean, he thought it is. For instance, it will attract private sector to come and invest if the pricing is competitive.
No, the market is open.
Okay.
For any sector to come and invest in. The president said that we should be prepared to pay reasonable rates.
Yeah.
There is nothing wrong with asking consumers to pay reasonable rates. The question is, what is reasonable rate? Now, all these things about cost of production and cost of or the consumption, the revenue that comes in, we're talking about problems that are faced within the industry. It's not because consumers are not paying reasonable rates that the electricity companies cannot work with. Let me give you an example. When Akosombo was set up, Valco was given a lot of the electricity. Valco was paying less than the household consumer in Ghana. And yet, we were trudging on. Some of the companies, you mentioned Gridco. Gridco is a very young company. And in the last about 3 or so years, they make surpluses. They make surpluses. And I think about 2011 and 2010, VRA had surpluses. Now, why would they have surpluses if the rates were not reasonable? Why? How?
And they claim to be in debt too.
There is a reason why they go into debt. The reason why they go into debt is because it is a management problem. And unless those people in management within those companies are prepared to be efficient, manage well, and things like that, we are going to be in trouble all the time. The ordinary consumer is going to be in trouble. I will explain that. Now, since those management are usually, especially what they call the CEOs and things like that, are employed directly by the government, we should look at them. Even the way they are appointed. If you go and appoint somebody just because, not because the person is capable of managing a company, but it's a party faithful. They go and sit there and they think it's theirs. They enjoy the comforts they can. Go and ask electricity company and VRA how much they are, what is the increased pay they're giving their workers this year. Ask. At the same time, but that's not my problem. If people are working well, pay them. I have no problem with that. When in 2000, is it 2012? Is it 2012 or 2011?
It depends on what happened.
Ameriyao.
Ameriyao. That should be 2012. Yeah, 2012.
Came up with his findings. Not a whimper. Nobody came to dispute what he had said. Now, and he said, I'm talking about the private sector alone. More than 1,000 private sector companies are owing the ECG 640 million.
Private sector.
Private sector. Okay? Private sector alone. Why is ECG not collecting the money? And if ECG is not collecting the money, and Announcer's job was the president's assignment, and that's how his video is entitled.
Yeah.
So at least it was the president's assignment. The president saw it. What's the president doing about it? If ECG is not collecting those debts, and we have a few here that will blow your mind. Vodafone, Vodafone, EcoBank, Moving Pick, Moving Pick, Vienna City, they gamble and get a lot of money.
Even Moving Pick.
MTN, La Palm Beach Hotel. You know, University of Ghana was owing 4.3 million. And when they collect fees from the students, part of it, they put the electricity.
I'm interested in MTN because they just supplied 3 Jaguars to their
349,811 Ghana cedis.
They can afford to pay. I mean, giving Jaguar 150,000.
Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, 2.9 million. University of Cape Coast, 1.8. Police headquarters, 393,000. Okay. Now this I'm talking about.
Before I want you to mention that for Moving Pick.
The ones that will blow your mind. We have foreign gold mining companies that keep 80% of the gold find that they go and sell abroad. There.
Yeah. Profit reparation.
And we have only 20%. They bring back 20%. They give us about 3%. Okay. And we tax them on the rest of the 17%. They are not paying electricity. Noble Gold BBNE, 1.3 million. There was all of them, almost all of them. John Bitter and Sons, they are not paying. The steel companies, Western Steel Company, Tema Steel Company, Chirano Gold Mines.
They are all not paying.
They are not paying. And then, because electricity company is not collecting these things, they are short of cash. Now, so when the president says, you consumers, you should pay realistic tariffs.
Clearly, this revelation defeats the purpose of his argument.
We are going to pay for these people to enjoy free electricity.
That clearly is unfair.
And the managers of the electricity companies are sitting there and are not collecting these. You are asking Moving Pick 577,000.
Well, the executive suite is about 7,000 or something per night.
What I'm trying to say here is that when a section, it is only a section of the population that is paying, and a section is not paying, and you ask that section which is paying to pay realistic charges when you have not addressed these arrears.
It's not acceptable, really.
Then those who are paying have the right to complain. Apart from these private companies,
most of which are foreign.
Apart from that, government is not also paying its electricity.
Really?
I'm telling you. The electricity company itself said,
you have their names?
The government is owing, apart from the Ministry of Energy, that has
Plain state.
They have prepaid meters.
Okay.
It's the only ministry I know that have prepaid meters. The rest of them, they're not paying.
TUC also has prepaid.
They're not paying. And the last count last year, ECG stated that government institutions were owing them 230 million Ghana cedis.
That is big. Very big.
They haven't paid.
Very big.
Apart from that,
230 billion.
Apart from that, government owes,
the amount you quoted is in Ghana cedis. So in all cedis, 230 billion.
Yes.
That's huge.
Now, apart from that, government owes VRA about 1 billion Ghana cedis. So VRA, if they are not able to buy some things that they want to buy, we should go and ask the government and those. Now, part of what electricity company is not collecting, as a result of that, they are not able to pay Gridco Because Gridco supplies to
Yeah.
ECG. They are not able to pay Gridco. And they are owing. They are owing Asogli. You might have seen in the papers recently a dispute between Asogli and ECG over these issues.
Yeah.
Okay? So when you say pay realistic, let's all pay realistic charges. Please, collect the arrears.
But come on, you remember some years
No,
back?
but before
Okay. Yeah, quickly, then you will come in.
Now, if you do not do that, then I will not, if I'm a household consumer or a small business, some chop bar,
Living some ghetto.
yeah, and you come and tell me that you are increasing the price, whereas these other organizations do not pay, we are paying for them. So we have to pay high so that they will also, we will get and they will get. That is where the problem is. Nobody is saying that people should not look between now inflation is about 10% and other things. Nobody is saying they should
because
be
we're running out of time. Let me quickly find out, why do you think that the president, this information is not outside the purview of the president? Indeed, it is within his remit and he has seen it, and yet would go on and make such a call on Ghanaians without addressing this. Why would he do that?
I would like to hope that when the president said that, he was also thinking of making sure that ECG collects these arrears from all these companies. We put out a statement about 2 months ago,
That's
or 1.5
CJA.
months ago, CJA, that the government should let ECG publish all those large companies that have arrears of more than 2 months.
It is important. Yeah, Fred, let me hear you.
You see, I appreciate and I concur with the issues my comrade is raising. If I live in a house where I owe ECG, say 35 Ghana cedis, 40 Ghana cedis, and you wake up one morning and you see them with their long ladder and the rest, they are coming to disconnect your lights without even a recourse to you. They don't even talk to you. And then big companies that are making so much profit, and like you rightly said, majority of them not even putting the money back in our economy, not paying the monies, then it is worrying. I am not surprised that lately you hear some people, if you want to confront them, they want to have difficulties with them. I think that these are issues that we have to address. And truth be told, we cannot expect the president, the vice president, or the minister out there to go chase people to pay for services they've enjoyed, that they've even made profit on. Why do we have these institutions? Why are we paying people to man these institutions if some of these basic things could not be done? You remember years back, that's the point I was trying to remind you, where we had to go and approach a foreign company, I think a French company, to come to this country, charge us more money so they can go around and retrieve monies that people were owing electricity company of Ghana.
Very shameful. But let me put this into you. Do you think that the time has come where the government, the state, should continue to be in ownership? It should be the owner of all these companies, but the management should be outsourced. Is it something we are looking at?
That is something we can look at. Somebody, I was having a discussion, somebody a week ago who told me, listen, even our ministries, if we can get private people to man our ministries, we'll get more
to that
results.
extent.
I don't know, but that was a point. Somebody, like I said, let us open up the system. Let others come on board. Let the competition be there. If you can afford to supply electricity to people, and at the end of the month, you no go for your monies, others will go for their money, provide efficient services, and all consumers will shift onto their lines.
Okay.
So it is something we need to look at very well.
And I'm not saying we should privatize state agency. Ownership still within the government, but management of it.
Excuse me. When
in 1 minute, sir.
Okay, there are some companies where the thing is state-owned, it's not making profit, it's privatized. The same people are working there, and they are making profit.
So it's about attitude.
Is it that God created the state sector or cursed the state sector?
Perhaps
no.
attitude.
If a private company owned ECG, they will cut off all the ministries from there, from life, because otherwise they will not make their profit. But what I'm trying to say is that in that same way, Because if the manager of the private company does not cut them off, they will be sacked. In that same way, those who appoint those in electricity companies, if they have inefficiencies and mismanagements and corruption going on, they should sack them.
Okay.
And they should have a proper way of employing
Unfortunately,
people.
I wish that we could have a second bite at these very important national issues. But thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time here. We draw the curtains here. Make a date with me on Thursday. Inshallah, I'll be here. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.